Then the edition of Shaykh Fawzan, Hafidhullah, he brings a small heading, Ar-Raja'u wa Dalilu. Ar-Raja, hope and longing, and its proof. Then the saying of Shaykh al-Islam, Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahhab, Rahimahullah, وَدَلِيلُ الرَّجَاء قَوْلُهُ تَعَالَى فَمَنْ كَانَ يَرْجُو لِقَاءَ رَبِّهِ فَلْيَعْمَلْ عَمَلًا صَالِحًا وَلَا يُشْرِكْ بِعِبَادَةِ رَبِّهِ أَحَدًا. He said, and the proof for ar-raja, hope and longing, is his saying, He the Most High. And he quotes the ayah from Surah Al-Kahf, the 18th surah, ayah 110, with the explanation. So whoever has hope in the meeting with his Lord and in his reward, then let him perform righteous actions and not associate anyone in worship with his Lord. Shaykh Fawzan said in explanation, his saying, He the Most High, Man kana yarju, whoever has raja, whoever, with the explanation, whoever hopes. Shaykh Fawzan said, meaning, he has hope for the reward of Allah, the Mighty and Majestic, and in seeing Him openly on the day of resurrection. Whoever has hope in seeing Allah with his eyes, seeing Allah openly on the day of resurrection, فَلْيَعْمَلْ عَمَلًا صَالِحًا, then let him perform righteous deeds. Shaykh Fawzan said, he should carry out the sabab. Whoever has that hope, he has that hope and wants that, then he should carry out the means, the sabab, which will enable him to attain this goal, which is the reward of entry into paradise and of being saved from the fire, وَالنَّظَرْ إِلَى وَجْهِ اللَّهِ, and of looking at the face of Allah, looking upon the face of Allah. This necessarily follows on. These things necessarily follow on. Whoever enters into paradise has been saved from the fire, and whoever enters into paradise will look upon the face of his Lord. And the Shaykh said, because whoever enters paradise, then he will see Allah, the Mighty and Majestic. فَمَنْ كَانَ يَرْجُو لِقَاءَ رَبِّهِ فَلْيَعْمَلْ عَمَلًا صَالِحًا. Same ayah with the explanation. So whoever has hope in the meeting with his Lord, then let him perform righteous deeds. Shaykh Fawzan said, this shows that raja, hope, alone is not sufficient. Hope on its own is not sufficient. Rather, there must be amal, there must be action. As for your just having hope in Allah, only just having hope, that's it. You just have hope. As for your just having hope in Allah, but you do not act, then this is to abandon the use of the means. Obviously, which is something which is not praiseworthy. Then he said, so ar-raja al-mahmud, so praiseworthy hope is that which occurs along with righteous action. You have hope and you perform righteous action. As for hoping which is not praiseworthy, then it is hope which does not have righteous action along with it. Then Shaykh Fawzan explains what is righteous action. Al-amal al-salih, he said, and al-amal al-salih, righteous action, is that which fulfills two conditions. The first is al-ikhlas lahu azza wa jal. The first condition for an action to be an amal al-salih, righteous action, is al-ikhlas, that it is done purely and sincerely for Him, the Mighty and Majestic. And the second condition is al-mutaba'ah, the Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam, that it is done following the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam, following the way of the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam. So an action will not be salih, will not be righteous, unless it fulfills these two conditions, that it is done purely and sincerely seeking the face of Allah. It does not contain any shirk, and that it should be sawaban, it should be a correct action done upon the sunnah of Allah's Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, not containing bid'ah, innovation. So if the two conditions are met, then it will be salih, a righteous action. And if any condition is missing, then it will be amalan fasidan, it will be a corrupt action. It will not benefit the person who does it. So action which contains shirk will be rejected for the person. And likewise, action which contains bid'ah, innovation, it will be rejected for the person. He sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, "Man amila amalan laysa alayhi amruna fahuwa rad." Whoever does an action which is not in accordance with our affair, then it will be rejected. The hadith, as I mentioned earlier on in a footnote, being reported by al-Bukhari in disconnected form, straight after hadith number 7350, and being reported by Muslim in connected form as hadith 1718, number 17. Obviously from a famous hadith of Aisha radiyallahu anha. Whoever does an action which is not in accordance with our affair, then it is rejected. And then Shaykh Fawzan said, finishing, so this ayah, the ayah from Surah Al-Kahf, the last ayah from Surah Al-Kahf, this ayah contains ar-Rajaa, hope and longing, and that it is an act of worship to Allah the Mighty and Majestic. And it shows that ar-Rajaa, hope, will not be correct except along with righteous action. And just as a final side point here before we complete or conclude, then Shaykh Ahmad al-Najmi rahimahullah, he mentioned in his explanation that ar-Rajaa is divided into two categories. That having hope is of two categories. Hope and longing, or Rajaa, is of two categories. The first being permissible, and the second being impermissible. So I mentioned the first one, the permissible hope, which is that you have hope from a created being, that he should give you a loan, for example. The Shaykh just quotes an example, meaning that you have hope in a created being with regard to something he's able to do for you. So the Shaykh is the example of him giving you a loan. So he said, which is that you have hope with regard to a created being, that he gives you a loan, for example, so that you can overcome some monetary problems which you are having. Then there is no problem with this. There's no problem in this type of hope. Having hope, even though it's hope of a created being, but it's with regard to something he can do. I'll give you a loan. He's able to give you a loan. So you hope that he will, maybe he won't. And the Shaykh mentions the second type of hope. However, the hope which is prohibited is that you have hope in him, meaning with regard to a created being. You have hope in him, hoping from him, something that only Allah is able to carry out. With regard to curing a sick person, or sending down rain, or removing bodily ailments, or giving a child, and the like of that. That is the type that is not permitted with regard to creation. And it's only permissible that you have that hope with regard to Allah the Most High. That would be, the Shaykh made clear, an act of worship. Hoping from Allah those things that only Allah is able to carry out.